The story begins in the heart of Willow Creek Elementary, a place usually buzzing with the joyful chaos of young minds. But today, a subtle unease hung in the air, almost imperceptible, yet keenly felt by Sarah, a teacher known for her sharp intuition and unwavering dedication to her students. Sarah, with her kind eyes and patient demeanor, possessed an uncanny ability to see beyond the surface, to sense the unspoken needs of the children under her care. This year brought a new face to her classroom. Lily, a small, quiet girl who seemed to exist on the periphery, shrouded in an oversized, faded gray hoodie. Even on the warmest days, Lily refused to remove it, the hood pulled up, casting her face in shadow. It wasn't just a fashion statement. It was a barrier, a shield against the world. Sarah watched Lily carefully, a growing concern etching lines on her forehead. That it wasn't simply the hoodie itself, but the way Lily clutched it, the almost desperate way she seemed to disappear inside. Its comforting folds. It was a silent plea that resonated deeply with Sarah, setting her on a path to uncover the chilling truth hidden beneath the fabric. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah's initial concern morphed into a persistent worry. She made a conscious effort to connect with Lily, starting with simple greetings and encouraging smiles. "Good morning, Lily," she'd say, her voice gentle and warm. But Lily would only offer a fleeting glance, her eyes darting away as if afraid to make contact. During reading time, Sarah would sit beside her, pointing out colorful illustrations and asking questions about the stories. Lily would sometimes mumble a response, barely audible, her gaze fixed on the pages, her small hands never leaving the edges of the hoodie. Recess proved to be another challenge. While other children ran and played, Lily remained on the fringes of the playground, often sitting alone on a bench, the hood pulled so far forward that it obscured her face entirely. Sarah tried inviting her to join games, suggesting hopscotch or drawing with chalk, but Lily would shake her head silently, retreating further into her shell. The other children, initially curious, began to give Lily a wide berth, whispering amongst themselves about the hoodie girl. Sarah knew she had to tread carefully. Pushing too hard might only make Lily withdraw further. But the burning question remained. What was Lily hiding, and how could Sarah help her? The school principal, Mr. Thompson, a kind but by-the-book administrator, approached Sarah one afternoon after class. "Sarah," he began, his tone gentle, "I've noticed Lily's consistent attire. You know the school policy about hoods indoors. It presents a certain image, and it could be a distraction." Sarah understood. Appearances mattered, and rules were rules. "I'm aware, Mr. Thompson," she replied. "I've been trying to address it, but Lily seems quite attached to her hoodie. I believe there might be more to it than just a preference." Mr. Thompson sighed. "I appreciate your sensitivity, Sarah, but we need to maintain a consistent standard. Perhaps a gentle reminder to Lily's parents. We don't want her to feel singled out, but the policy is there for a reason." This placed Sarah in a difficult position. She respected Mr. Thompson and understood the need for rules, but she also couldn't shake the feeling that forcing Lily to remove the hoodie would be detrimental, potentially causing more harm than good. It felt like peeling away a layer of protection that the little girl desperately needed. The school policy, meant to promote order and uniformity, now stood as an obstacle in Sarah's path to helping Lily. Adding to Sarah's unease was the fact that Lily often seemed cold. Even in the comfortably heated classroom, she'd noticed Lily shivering subtly, her small frame trembling beneath the bulky hoodie. This wasn't a dramatic, attention-seeking shiver, but a quiet, persistent tremor that spoke of something deeper than just being chilly. Was Lily perhaps ill? Or was the coldness somehow linked to the reason behind the constant hoodie? The more Sarah observed, the more convinced she became that something was profoundly wrong. It wasn't just the hoodie. It was the combination of the withdrawn behavior, the avoidance of eye contact, and the perpetual chill that seemed to cling to Lily. These pieces of the puzzle, though seemingly small and insignificant on their own, were beginning to form a disturbing picture in Sarah's mind. She started staying up late, researching possible causes, anxiety disorders, past trauma, even potential signs of abuse. The possibilities weighed heavily on her heart, fueling her determination to uncover the truth and provide Lily with the help she so desperately seemed to need. The chilling truth, Sarah feared, was closer than she thought. Determined to break through Lily's defenses, Sarah tried a different tactic. She brought in a set of new art supplies, vibrant paints, colorful construction paper, and glitter glue, hoping to spark Lily's creativity and draw her out of her shell. She invited Lily to paint a picture with her during free time, but Lily simply shook her head, her eyes downcast. Sarah then tried reading aloud a captivating story about a brave little girl who overcomes her fears, hoping to resonate with Lily's own struggles. But even the enchanting tale failed to elicit a reaction. Lily remained impassive, her gaze fixed on the worn pages, her fingers tightly gripping the edges of her hoodie. Frustrated but undeterred, Sarah even attempted to engage Lily in a simple game of building blocks, hoping to foster a sense of collaboration and connection. She carefully constructed a tall tower, inviting Lily to add a block. But Lily hesitated, her eyes wide with apprehension. After a long pause, she gently shook her head again, her silence speaking volumes. Each failed attempt chipped away at Sarah's optimism, but it also fueled her resolve to find a way to reach Lily, to break through the wall of silence and uncover the secret she was so desperately trying to conceal. She knew, instinctively, that giving up was not an option. That it happened during afternoon recess. The children were playing tag, their laughter echoing across the playground. Lily, as usual, sat alone on the bench, her hoodie pulled up. A sudden gust of wind, stronger than the others, whipped through the playground, catching the edge of Lily's hood and pulling it back momentarily. In that fleeting instant, a gasp escaped from a nearby student, a little boy named Timmy, who had been watching Lily from a distance. Timmy, wide-eyed and visibly shaken, approached Sarah, tugging on her sleeve. "Teacher," he whispered, his voice trembling. I saw Lily's head. That's all." He trailed off, unable to articulate what he had witnessed. "It's okay, Timmy," Sarah reassured him, kneeling down to his level. "What did you see? You can tell me." Timmy hesitated, then whispered, "It's all bruised. All over, like someone hurt her." Sarah's heart clenched. The chilling truth she had feared was now staring her in the face. The hoodie wasn't just a shield. It was a cover-up. A wave of nausea washed over her as she imagined the pain and fear Lily must be enduring. The playground, once a place of innocent joy, now felt tainted with the weight of Lily's secret. Sarah knew she had to act, and act quickly. Timmy's whispered revelation sent a jolt of adrenaline through Sarah. That evening, instead of grading papers, she delved deeper into her research. She focused on resources about child abuse, domestic violence, and the psychological effects of trauma. She learned about the signs of physical abuse, bruises in unusual places, defensive postures, and fear of physical contact, all of which seemed to align with Lily's behavior. She also explored the impact of witnessing domestic violence, understanding how it could lead to anxiety, withdrawal, and a desperate need for protection, symbolized by the ever-present hoodie. The more she read, the more convinced she became that Lily was living in a dangerous and unstable environment. The pieces of the puzzle were finally falling into place, creating a horrifying picture of Lily's reality. Sarah felt a surge of anger and protectiveness towards the little girl. She knew she couldn't stand idly by while Lily suffered in silence. Armed with this new knowledge and fueled by a fierce determination, Sarah resolved to take the next step, to confront the situation head-on, and to do everything in her power to ensure Lily's safety and well-being. The chilling truth had been partially revealed, but Sarah knew there was still much more to uncover. The following morning, Sarah immediately tried to schedule a parent-teacher conference with Lily's parents. She called the number listed on Lily's registration form, but the call went straight to voicemail. She left a message, expressing her concern about Lily's well-being and requesting an urgent meeting. Days passed, but Sarah received no response. She tried calling again, multiple times, but each call ended the same way, unanswered. Growing increasingly worried, Sarah decided to send a written note home with Lily, reiterating her request for a meeting and emphasizing the importance of addressing some potential issues she had observed in class. However, the next day, Lily returned to school with the same note, crumpled in her backpack, with a brief, hastily scribbled message from her mother. "We're very busy. Can't meet right now. Everything is fine." Sarah's unease deepened. The lack of communication, the dismissive message, and the overall evasiveness of Lily's parents only strengthened her suspicion that something was terribly wrong at home. She knew that she couldn't rely on conventional methods to reach them. Their reluctance to engage only solidified her resolve to take more drastic measures. The chilling truth, she realized, was being actively concealed. One afternoon, during a one-on-one reading session, Sarah decided to try a different approach. Instead of focusing on the story, she gently steered the conversation towards Lily's home life. She spoke in a soft, non-threatening voice, creating a safe space for Lily to share if she felt comfortable. "Lily," Sarah began, "I was wondering, do you have any pets at home?" Lily hesitated, her eyes darting nervously around the room. After a moment of silence, she mumbled, "No." Sarah paused, then asked, "What's your favorite thing to do at home?" Lily remained silent for a long time, her fingers twisting the fabric of her hoodie. Finally, in a barely audible whisper, she said, "Watch the rain." The simplicity of the response struck Sarah. It was such an innocent, childlike thing to say, but something about the way Lily said it, the sadness in her voice, made Sarah's heart ache. It felt out of place. Disconnected from the reality of the potential abuse she suspected. It was as if Lily were clinging to a small piece of beauty and peace amidst a storm. This small, seemingly insignificant detail offered a tiny crack in Lily's wall, giving Sarah a glimpse into the hidden world the little girl inhabited, and a renewed sense of urgency to help. Lily's simple statement about watching the rain resonated deeply within Sarah, solidifying her conviction that she needed to act decisively. The evasiveness of Lily's parents, coupled with Timmy's observation and Lily's subtle cues, painted a grim picture. She knew she couldn't wait any longer for a formal meeting that likely wouldn't happen. Weighing the risks and benefits, Sarah made a difficult decision. She would conduct an unannounced home visit. She understood the potential repercussions, overstepping boundaries, facing angry parents, even jeopardizing her job. However, the thought of Lily continuing to suffer in silence, potentially enduring abuse, was unbearable. She couldn't live with herself if she didn't do everything in her power to help. After school, Sarah drove to the address listed on Lily's registration form, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt a mixture of apprehension and determination. She didn't know what she would find, but she was prepared to face whatever awaited her, armed with her unwavering commitment to Lily's safety and well-being. The chilling truth was about to be confronted as Sarah's car turned onto Lily's street. Her apprehension deepened. The neighborhood was noticeably run down, with houses in various states of disrepair. When she finally located Lily's address, her heart sank. The house was a small, dilapidated bungalow with peeling paint, overgrown weeds in the yard, and a general air of neglect. A broken window was haphazardly covered with cardboard. The scene was a stark contrast to the tidy homes and manicured lawns that characterized other parts of Willow Creek. The physical condition of the house spoke volumes about the lives within. Sarah hesitated for a moment, gathering her courage. She took a deep breath, reminding herself why she was there. As she walked towards the front door, she noticed a pile of trash overflowing from a nearby bin, and a discarded child's toy lying broken in the grass. The sense of unease intensified with each step. Even before knocking, Sarah knew that the environment surrounding Lily was far from stable or nurturing. This outward neglect foreshadowed the potential inner turmoil that awaited her. The chilling discovery had begun. Sarah hesitated, then knocked gently on the weathered front door. There was no response. She knocked again, a little louder this time. Still nothing. Just as she was about to try the doorknob, she heard voices inside. Loud, angry voices. They were muffled, but she could discern the distinct tones of a man and a woman arguing. Cautiously, Sarah tried the doorknob. To her surprise, it was unlocked. She pushed the door open slightly and peered inside. The scene that greeted her was even more disturbing than she had imagined. The house was dimly lit and cluttered, with clothes strewn across the furniture and dishes piled high in the sink. The air was thick with the smell of stale cigarette smoke and something else. Something indefinable but unpleasant. As she stepped further into the house, the argument became clearer. She could now make out the words, harsh accusations, desperate pleas, and the unmistakable sound of rising anger. The chilling discovery was escalating. and Sarah knew she was intruding on a situation that was rapidly spiraling out of control. As Sarah stood frozen just inside the doorway, the argument raged on. She could now clearly hear the content of the fight. "We're going to lose the house. Carol, what are we going to do?" the man shouted, his voice laced with desperation. "I told you we couldn't afford that new car, Tom. But you wouldn't listen," Carol retorted, her voice sharp and accusatory. The argument continued, revealing a litany of financial woes. Unpaid bills, looming debt, and the constant pressure of making ends meet. The stress was palpable, hanging in the air like a suffocating blanket. Amidst the shouting, Sarah noticed a small figure huddled in the corner of the living room, barely visible in the dim light. That it was Lily, her knees drawn up to her chest, her head buried in her arms, and the familiar gray hoodie pulled tightly around her. She was trembling. Suddenly, Tom's voice rose even louder, laced with a dangerous edge. "It's all your fault. If you hadn't." He took a step towards Carol, his fist clenched. Sarah's blood ran cold. She knew she couldn't stand by and watch any longer. The chilling discovery had reached its climax. "Stop!" Sarah shouted, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. Tom and Carol both turned to look at her, their faces a mixture of shock and anger. Lily remained huddled in the corner, her eyes wide with fear, her small hands clutching the gray hoodie as if it were a lifeline. Sarah stepped further into the room, her gaze fixed on Tom. "I'm Lily's teacher, Sarah Miller," she said, her voice firm but controlled. "I couldn't help but overhear the argument. I'm concerned about Lily, and I'm concerned about the environment she's living in." It suddenly clicked for Sarah. The hoodie wasn't just about hiding bruises. It was about making herself smaller, about disappearing, about protecting herself from the storm raging around her. That it was her safe space, her portable shelter in a world that felt unsafe. The shivering wasn't necessarily from cold, but from fear, from the constant anxiety of living in a home filled with tension and the threat of violence. The chilling truth was now fully unveiled. Lily's hoodie was a symbol of her trauma, a constant reminder of the chaos and instability that defined her young life. Tom scoffed, taking a step back from Carol, but still radiating anger. "Who do you think you are, barging into our house like this? This is a private matter." Carol, her face pale and drawn, remained silent, her eyes darting nervously between Tom and Sarah. Sarah held her ground. "It stops being a private matter when it affects a child," she countered, her voice unwavering. "I've noticed Lily's withdrawn behavior at school, her constant need to wear that hoodie, and her overall anxiety. I'm worried about her, and I'm not going to ignore what's happening here." She addressed both parents directly. Lily needs a safe and stable environment. She needs support and understanding, not anger and aggression. That I understand that you're going through a difficult time, but that's no excuse for creating a situation that's clearly traumatizing her. Sarah tried to appeal to their sense of responsibility, to awaken their parental instincts. She emphasized that Lily's well-being should be their top priority, and that their actions were directly impacting her emotional and psychological health. She hoped that her words would penetrate their anger and defensiveness, and prompt them to acknowledge the severity of the situation. That Tom's face flushed with anger. "You have no right to say that. We're good parents. That we provide for her. We love her." Carol nodded weakly in agreement, avoiding Sarah's gaze. "We're just going through a rough patch," she mumbled. Sarah knew she had to tread carefully. Accusations would only make them more defensive and less likely to cooperate. "I understand that you love Lily," she said, softening her tone slightly. "But sometimes, even with the best intentions, we can unintentionally create an environment that's harmful to our children. That I'm not here to judge you, that I'm here to offer help." She suggested family counseling, financial assistance programs, and other resources that could provide them with support during this difficult time. However, both parents remained resistant, clinging to their denial. "We don't need your help," Tom insisted, his voice hardening again. "We can handle this ourselves. Just leave us alone." The parental denial was a heavy blow. Sarah realized that she was facing an uphill battle, and that the situation was more complex and entrenched than she had initially anticipated. She could see the fear in their eyes, the fear of judgment, the fear of losing their child. Seeing their closed-off expressions and the fear in Lily's eyes, Sarah knew she had reached a dead end. She couldn't force them to accept help they didn't want. But she also couldn't walk away knowing that Lily was in danger. She needed to ensure Lily's safety, even if it meant going against the parents' wishes. Making a swift decision, Sarah knew her next action had to be discreet. "Okay," she said, backing towards the door. "I understand that I'll leave you to it. But please, think about what I've said. Lily's well-being is what's most important." As she reached the doorway, she subtly pulled out her cell phone and, under the guise of checking the time, quickly dialed the number for Child Protective Services. She couldn't say anything directly, but she hoped they would understand the urgency of the situation. She ended the call before it connected, but the dialed number would be enough. Sarah knew this was a risky move, potentially jeopardizing her career and enraging the parents further. But Lily's safety was paramount. With a final, lingering look at Lily, still huddled in the corner, Sarah left the house, praying that help would arrive soon. Sarah drove away from Lily's house, her hands trembling on the steering wheel. She replayed the scene in her mind, the angry voices, Lily's terrified eyes, the dilapidated house. It was a scene she knew she would never forget. Back at school, the minutes crawled by. Sarah tried to focus on her teaching, but her thoughts kept returning to Lily. She kept glancing at the clock, wondering if CPS had arrived, praying that Lily was safe. The weight of responsibility was crushing. Finally, during the last period of the day, she saw a familiar car pull up outside the school, an unmarked vehicle with two individuals in plain clothes. Relief washed over Sarah as she realized that help had arrived. She watched as the two individuals approached Lily's house, their faces serious and determined. She couldn't see what was happening inside, but she could only hope that they would be able to intervene effectively and provide Lily with the protection she so desperately needed. The waiting was agonizing, but Sarah knew she had done everything she could, and IT was now in the hands of the professionals. The next few hours were a blur. Sarah continued teaching, trying to maintain a semblance of normalcy for her students, but her mind was elsewhere. She imagined the CPS workers inside Lily's house, interviewing the parents, observing Lily, assessing the situation. She pictured Lily, her small frame trembling, trying to explain what was happening, or perhaps remaining silent, hidden behind her hoodie. As the school day ended, Sarah saw the CPS workers emerge from Lily's house, accompanied by two police officers. Lily was with them, still wearing her gray hoodie, but her eyes seemed less fearful, more curious. Sarah watched as they gently guided Lily into the back of one of the vehicles. The parents, their faces etched with anger and disbelief, were left standing on the porch. Sarah knew that Lily was being taken into protective custody, a temporary measure to ensure her safety while CPS investigated the situation further. It was a difficult and traumatic experience for Lily, but it was also a necessary step towards a better future. Sarah's heart ached for Lily, but she also felt a sense of relief knowing that the little girl was finally safe, at least for now. The next chapter of Lily's life was about to begin. The following days were difficult. Lily was absent from school, and Sarah missed her terribly. She tried to contact CPS to inquire about Lily's well-being, but due to confidentiality restrictions, she was unable to obtain any specific information. All she knew was that Lily was in a safe place and receiving the care she needed. Knowing that Lily was likely feeling scared and alone, Sarah decided to prepare a care package for her. She gathered some of Lily's favorite art supplies, paints, crayons, and construction paper, along with a few of her favorite books. She also included a small, stuffed animal, a soft, cuddly bear, hoping that it would provide Lily with some comfort and companionship during this difficult time. Most importantly, Sarah wrote Lily a heartfelt letter, expressing her support and letting her know that she was thinking of her. She reassured Lily that she was not alone and that things would eventually get better. She promised to be there for her, no matter what happened. She sent the package through CPS, hoping that it would reach Lily and provide her with a sense of connection and hope during this challenging time. Sarah knew that her role in Lily's life was far from over. Weeks turned into months. Sarah learned that Lily had been placed in a foster home, a safe and nurturing environment where she was receiving counseling and support. CPS continued to investigate Lily's home situation, and her parents were required to attend parenting classes and undergo therapy. During this time, Sarah reflected on the long-term impact of trauma on children. She understood that Lily's journey to healing would be a long and challenging one, that she realized that Lily's experiences would likely shape her personality, her relationships, and her overall outlook on life. The anxiety, the fear, and the sense of insecurity would not disappear overnight. Sarah also knew that Lily would need ongoing support and understanding to overcome these challenges. She resolved to remain a constant presence in Lily's life, to be a source of stability and encouragement, and to help her build a strong and resilient foundation for the future. She understood that Lily's recovery would depend on the collective efforts of many individuals: her foster parents, her therapist, and herself. The chilling truth had been uncovered, but the work of healing was just beginning. Months later, Sarah received a call from Lily's foster mother, a warm and compassionate woman named Emily. Emily explained that Lily was doing well, adjusting to her new home, and making progress in therapy. She also mentioned that Lily often spoke about Sarah and missed her very much. Emily arranged a visit between Sarah and Lily. When Sarah arrived at Emily's house, she was greeted by a hesitant but hopeful Lily. Lily was still wearing her gray hoodie, but it was noticeably cleaner and less worn than before. As they sat together, Sarah noticed that Lily seemed more relaxed and open than she had ever been at school. They talked about school, about art, and about Lily's new life in the foster home. Sarah learned that Lily was thriving in her new environment, making friends, and excelling in her studies. She was also learning to trust again, to open up about her feelings, and to let go of some of the fear and anxiety that had consumed her for so long. The chilling truth was still a part of Lily's past, but it no longer defined her future. Over the next few months, Sarah continued to visit Lily regularly. With each visit, she witnessed a gradual but undeniable transformation. Lily's smile became brighter, her laughter more frequent, and her overall demeanor more confident. She started participating in extracurricular activities, joining the school choir and the art club. One sunny afternoon, during one of Sarah's visits, Lily came to the door wearing a bright yellow t-shirt and jeans. Sarah noticed that the gray hoodie was nowhere to be seen. "Where's your hoodie, Lily?" she asked gently. Lily smiled shyly. "I don't need it as much anymore," she replied. "I feel safe here." She explained that she still wore it sometimes, especially when she was feeling anxious or overwhelmed, but it was no longer a constant necessity. It was no longer her only shield. Sarah's heart swelled with joy. The hoodie, once a symbol of Lily's trauma and fear, was slowly becoming a relic of the past. Lily was finally shedding her reliance on it, embracing a future filled with hope, healing, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The chilling truth had been overcome, replaced by the warmth of love, support, and a newfound sense of security. As Sarah drove home that day, she reflected on the events of the past several months. She realized the profound impact that teachers can have on the lives of their students, especially those who are vulnerable and in need of support. She thought about the importance of careful observation, of paying attention to subtle cues, and of trusting one's instincts. She recognized that her decision to intervene, to conduct a home visit, and to contact CPS had been risky, but it had also been the right thing to do. She knew that she had potentially saved Lily from a life of abuse and neglect. The chilling truth had been difficult to uncover, but the rewards of helping Lily heal and thrive were immeasurable. Sarah resolved to continue to be a vigilant and compassionate teacher, to always be on the lookout for students who might be struggling, and to never hesitate to take action when necessary. She understood that educators played a vital role in protecting children, in providing them with a safe and nurturing environment, and in helping them reach their full potential. She knew that the story of Lily's hoodie would forever shape her approach to teaching, reminding her of the power of kindness, empathy, and unwavering dedication. Lily's story serves as a powerful reminder that behind the seemingly ordinary faces of children, there may lie hidden struggles, silent cries for help, and untold stories of pain and resilience. It underscores the critical need for vigilance, compassion, and a strong sense of community responsibility in protecting vulnerable children. It is a call to action for all members of society, teachers, parents, neighbors, and friends, to be observant, empathetic, and willing to intervene when they suspect that a child is in danger. It is a reminder that even small acts of kindness and support can make a profound difference in the life of a child who is suffering. Let Lily's story inspire us to create a world where all children feel safe, valued, and loved, where their voices are heard, and where their potential is nurtured. Let us remember that the chilling truths that children may be hiding can only be overcome by the warmth of compassion, the strength of community, and the unwavering belief in the power of hope. The gray hoodie may fade, but the lessons learned from Lily's journey must remain, guiding us towards a brighter future for all children.